show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
We're a band of brothers standing tall, bound by soil and the southern call. Through fields of gold, through fire and ash, we hold our ground, we'll never crash. Hurrah, hurrah, we raise it high, the bonny blue beneath the sky. Hurrah, hurrah, it shines afar, that bonny blue flag with its single star. Our rights were forged in honest hands. We plowed the fields, we worked the lands. When danger came, we made our stand. A simple star, a bold demand. Hurrah, hurrah, we raise it high, the bonny blue beneath the sky. Hurrah, hurrah, it shines afar, that bonny blue flag with its single star. And battles grim, our anthem sung a sacred hymn. The star it gleams, it lights the way for those who fight and those who stay.
I don't hear any music.
I hear it. Hurrah, we raise it high, the bonny blue beneath the sky. Hurrah, hurrah, it shines.
Did someone say you can hear the music?
No, I don't hear it.
Huh?
I couldn't.
No.
I heard it just fine.
Oh, okay. I'm hearing it on my end, and it's going out live, so I don't know. I'll keep going.
It shines above that bonny
Yeah, you'll have to announce when it's over.
Single star.
Am I too dark now?
Hey, everybody. This is Randy of All Roads Legal Genealogy and Colonel around the roads of the Carolina Grey Ghosts. And tonight it is United Fire Eaters. And with us tonight, going from the top, going across and down, is Alex Wissonet, Matthew Holmes, Greg, Benjamin Walker. We got one person who may still join us tonight, but we are getting started here. This broadcast, this group is for the South. It's for the Southern heritage. And is for those who love the South. So if you don't like the South, get out. We're going to start with Greg. He's a board member of the Southern Independence Association. For those who don't know who it is, Greg, can you tell us what it is, what your position is, and what's going on?
Sure. Well, thank you, Colonel. I appreciate that. My name is Greg Owens, and I'm the chairman of the Southern Independent Association. I'm also the commander of Confederate Regulators. But if we start with a little bit of my background, I'm from Kentucky. I'm a former educator. I'm highly involved in a lot of what we call our Patriot movement or our Confederate movement. Some people don't like us to combine those two, but being the chairman of the Southern Independent Association, what I wanted to do is I wanted to just give everyone an idea about who we are. Okay, the Southern Independent Association, it's an organization that's dedicated to promoting and defending the Southern heritage. It's our history and our state sovereignty in the United States is what we're most primarily concerned with. Well, we operate through a structured leadership, including a board of directors. We can have as many as 12 on there. Currently, we're at 7. We also have regional and state officers. So, for example, a state officer might include an executive director, a field director, a safety officer or safety director. We have a lot of things that we have 11 different positions for the state. Now, we organize events and we are involved in advocacy, but we're talking about political advocacy. And we're also talking about having education efforts in order for us to try to empower people to know the truth. A lot of me being a former teacher, I know how civics has been left out of the curriculum. I know this personally. Now, I was not a social studies teacher nor a history teacher, but of the curriculum development and design that I worked with the people at the State Department of Education, I know that the social studies curriculum is barely tested, and it has stepped aside to science, math, reading, and writing. Those are the 4 things that are being tested in our education system right now. That must change. That must change. We understand that civics is one of the weakest points of our education system. Our group align politically with the principles of limited government. We believe in limited government, and we believe in a strong state governance. And so we like to ask people to get involved in your local school board. Try to get involved with your chamber of commerce. Run for office if you have political guidance that's in your county. Here we have the county judge executive, and we have magistrates. So we need people that will actually try to run for those offices, even if it's someone that's going to even help with elections or whatever. But you can even move up into the state offices too. So strong state government actually begins in the local area. We have an opposition to the national banking system. Like we don't cater to the Federal Reserve, and we follow strict interpretation of the United States Constitution, very strictly. It actively engages public heritage, our heritage defense, including a visible support of Confederate symbols. We aim to influence the public opinion and policies through grassroots mobilization, and of course, again, to reiterate, political advocacy. Now, we're not a militant group. I know sometimes people say, well, how are we going to change things? Well, we do know that the government basically has been, I'm going to say, intercepted or taken over by Marxists, some leftists, some woke. And so we do know that there's agenda that has been designed many decades ago to go after this particular government. So one of the things that we're trying to do as far as the Southern Independent Association is switch from 4 years of interest of this 1861 through 1865. Those 4 years of the Civil War, is much more to that. Much more to that. We're talking about things that started back in the 1828, 1829 with the tariffs. And then also, one of the things that we're really concerned with right now is discrimination of Southern people. And everybody here knows that we've been discriminated against. I've had some people say some awful things to me. Heard another story today. My mother, when she was in her early 20s, and my father, my dad was in the military, and I heard this for the first time today. There was an individual that was at an officer's engagement. They go and they get together like a military ball, and you all have seen those in Confederate events, but this was with the U.S. Army. My dad at that time was a first lieutenant. There were other officers there. They were very young, and there was a piano player or a pianist that was there, and he was entertaining everybody, and he was just one of the crowd. He was also an officer, and he started making fun of Southern people by changing his tunes into the minor key. If you know anything about music, there's major and there's minor, and he was mocking anything Southern that he played. He changed the tune of it because he was brilliant on the piano. My mom walked up to him and slapped him.
Oh.
Guess who shows up at the door 8 o'clock briskly the next morning? That man dressed up in full uniform and saluted when he got to the door and apologized as soon as the door was open. You see, this type of discrimination has been happening for years. Now, the SIA, we have a website. I'm actually working on the website myself. I guess you could say I'm the webmaster. I don't care for labels. I don't care for rank. I don't care for that. But what I'm saying is go to southernindependentassociation.org and you will find forms that you can fill out that we're collecting that we can use as evidence of discrimination. And we're going to pursue a civil rights case so that the SC or the CSA Americans, if you're a CSA American, then we're going to file for discrimination and get counted as a national origin, just like Polish Americans, just like Irish Americans, just like Prussian Americans. They're covered by the 1964 Civil Rights Act. The SIA has decided that there's no job that we can't tackle, but we need help. There's no way that we can do this alone. So I've talked to Colonel yesterday about this on the phone, and I was talking about that groups that don't want to work together, and you all have to play, along yourself. It's like you don't play well with others. We're not including you. But if you want to be a part of the SIA, or if you want to all of us join together, like I know that Alex is part of the NFAC, and we're in alignment with him. The SIA is also in alignment with SCV, and also with the Confederate regulators, and we've been in alignment with the Copperhead. So we need all pull in the same direction. So political advocacy is our strength. We're not afraid of it. And so that's a little bit about the SIA. I do want to highlight something that I think you'll find on our website as well, and that is that Mindy Wilcoxon, or Esposito, has written an incredible essay that talks about the first erasure, how the Confederate memory has become a blueprint for America's cultural revolution. And in this essay, basically the premise is they have attacked us as their trial period. We are, I don't know, what would you call us? Kind of like we're the guinea pigs, so that if they can make this happen in the South, discriminate against us, tear down our monuments, eradicate our symbols and things like that, that they feel like that they have gotten practice for the other groups. We won't stand for it. And I want everybody out there to know we will not stand for it. And so she has this wonderful essay that's online. So let me read a little bit of it. In recent years, Americans have struggled to understand how their nation, long anchored by shared history, faith, and civic identity, could suddenly feel unmoored. Retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn's assessment of an attempted cultural revolution explains much of this turmoil. But when viewed through the lens of the Southern history, a deeper truth comes clear. Confederate memory was not only an early casualty of this ideological struggle, it was the proving ground. Long before the nation realized what's happening, Southern monuments, graves, flags, and historical narratives were quietly placed under assault. What seemed at first like isolated controversies were in fact early experiments in coercion, censorship, and rewriting of memory. The destruction of Confederate heritage was the pilot program of a much larger transformation. The revolutionaries learned on the South what they later unleashed on the whole republic. So that's part of the essay that comes out that Mindy Wilcoxon Esposito has authored. Now that's also been it's been picked up by a magazine, so you all may see a little bit of this later on. So we're very serious about what we do, and we've got a lot of places that people can get involved with us. We have openings in Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, name a state, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, name a state, Mississippi, Missouri, name a state, Texas. We can keep going even and going into the West. So we encourage you to go to our website because you can join with us. And remember this, I belong to actually two other groups, the Confederate Defenders Foundation and also the United Confederacy States of America, the New Beginning. So I belong to other groups too, but we want to be under the umbrella of the SIA because we feel like that we can work together and we can work well and we can speak as one voice. They have beat our narrative. Y'all know that, right?
Yes.
They've beat our narrative. So our narrative is now we got to put away our flags. I know a guy that actually lives in Illinois, and he put a flag up on his porch and wound up the next day with garbage in his yard, and then eggs on his car. So that's going to be part of our civil rights case. That's all I've got to say, Colonel. If there are any questions that the guest might have with me.
Yeah, I have one to get started. You mentioned that the essay that she wrote is in a magazine. Are you able to mention the magazine?
Yes, let me see if I can find that. I'll tell you what, while others may be saying something, I'll go and look at it on my phone. What I'm afraid of is if I find it on my phone, it's going to disappear. I will fall offline. I can tell you what magazine it is.
Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm going to give a shout out to, I have 5 devices open here looking at people coming in. So I want to give a shout out to people who are watching live right now. Brad Bowden, Azura Bentigan, of course me, Azura Bentigan, mention that name, Cody Smith, Nate Carlton, who else is here? Walter Rohrbacher, and Brandon Lee Floyd Fishra is watching.
What's up, Brandon? What's up, Cody?
Let's see. Cameron Sloop.
What's up, Cameron?
Did I mention Cody Smith?
Yeah, they're all in the SI.
And Nate
Cody
Carlton.
Smith is the president of the Confederate Regulators, by the way.
Okay. So yeah, so if I'm listening to you guys, so if my head's going this way, it's because I'm trying to keep track with all the different devices for the comments. Alex, you're up.
Hey y'all, my name's Alex Wickett. I was born and raised. Just a little bit of background about me. I was born and raised on a farm, little Black Creek, South Carolina. You may or may not have heard of that. A lot of folks don't. You can pick a spot anywhere.
Are you able to get a little bit closer to your microphone?
Let's see here. How about that? Can y'all hear me better?
That's better. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I was born and raised on a farm in rural Black Creek, South Carolina. And you could pick a spot anywhere 360 degrees, and I could family. I had family members all around me. 140 acres of farmland. I grew up with my grandpa in the watermelon field, moving out doing watermelons to try to make a little extra money, selling goats and horses to the local market. Made extra money, and I thank the good Lord for that upbringing because I learned a lot. I wouldn't have traded any of that for the world. I want to talk a little bit about how all these Southern groups need to come together, as Greg mentioned, under the umbrella, under the same color. For the same cause, at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. At the end of the day, we're all family. I'm a proud member of the SIA. My group, the Carolina Gray Ghosts, our volunteers, to encourage folks to reach out to us and please join. I'm also a proud member of the SIA. And I just want to get everybody to come together as one for our Southern heritage, culture, history, and birthright. And see to it that these carpetbaggers ain't gonna, they're not gonna win. It just ain't gonna happen. If I got anything to say about it, and I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. It's not a game. It's our way of life that they kind of destroy. And I won't stand for it. It really gets my blood boiling a little bit when I talk about it. But that's because I mean I'm serious. I want to share with y'all something that my mom called me up one day and she said, I got something to tell you. I said, okay, I'm gonna be right over. So she was cleaning some stuff out of the storage that she had, and lo and behold, I want y'all to see that she gave me it's the South Carolina Troop Confederate State Service Rolls of Dead, and by that I found my first answer. Prior to that, a friend of mine out of North Carolina, she actually looked it up and found my first ancestry, and that's what got the ball rolling. I knew it was in my blood, and now I'm proud to say I know for a fact it is. Thanks to Colonel Randall Rhodes from All Roads Lead to Home Genealogy. I don't know, I just about done lost count of how many Confederate soldiers and Revolutionary soldiers that fought under several different respective flags in the state. Um, Anytime I get a chance when we go to different events, ceremonies, and stuff like that, that I feel, you know, appropriate, I will bring that book along. And if you think you have any thought of any soldiers who fought for the state of South Carolina, it'll be in this book. And we got markers, and I'd like to mark it, get it documented, any chance I can get. I want to also talk about some events coming up that y'all may or may not heard of. So December 20th in at Secession Hill in Abbeville, South Carolina, there's going to be the 165th South Carolina anniversary Secession Day. It's going to be at 1 p.m. And we'd love for y'all to show up. If you can't show up, maybe you know some folks down this way, or it would be a little closer, and they can show up in your stead. I'm a proud fire eater from South Carolina, and I just want to keep pushing us forward. We're not going back. You need to know your history. You need to know what was behind us to move forward, and you can learn a lot from what happened in the past. So we ain't looking to do it again. And people ask me, did it ever change anything now that I know I have Confederate ancestors in my blood? I said, no. If anything, that makes me fight that much more hard for what it is that we want to do, which is we want sovereign states. We want states' rights. We don't want nothing to do with no government. Last time I checked, they ain't never done nothing for me. But at the end of the day, or should I say at the end of the year, they're always looking for a handout, and they ain't never, sweat, not one teardrop, not any blood, or cried any tears. But yet they still want a handout at the end of the day. I don't think that's how
Mm-mm.
you want to call it. You need to, you need to become proud statesmen like uh, John Calhoun, Thomas Paine, Jefferson. Um, at the end of the day, if we don't stand up, we already see what they're going to do. They're going to tear it down. But for every two they tear down, we're going to raise another six.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud to say we still having Confederate monuments going back up from where they destroyed it. Was it 2020, 2021? No, in 2019, John Calhoun statue is going back to where it belongs in the low country of Charleston, South Carolina. I don't think they have it in place yet, but it's going to do it. So we're going to put it back up. Also, another event in Lexington, Virginia. So, Lee Jackson Day. It's going to be January 16th through the 18th. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you can, please be a part of it. We're going to be flagging and honor our ancestors and forward their colors, our colors, all weekend. Friday, we're going to be with Flags Across the South. That's another group that I'm a part of. I'm a part of many. We're going to be there for the third year at 7 a.m. Friday morning. Flagging Washington University.
It would be great if you think about me, I know it's a hard thing to do, think about me, but if you could, while you're there, use your cell phone or something like that and do like a live feed and send it to me, and I can share it online so people from home can watch what you're doing.
Yes, sir. Most definitely. And
And
we got the mission.
the link that I have here on the screen is to the South Carolina website to the book that you just mentioned.
Awesome. That's
So you
great.
can actually get that online. And while I don't know if you guys are hearing the dings, and I apologize if you are. Some people are dinging me while we're live here. And I thought I had all my devices silenced, but if you're hearing the ding, I apologize for that. But I got a gentleman by the name of John Needham who is sending me some images. And while you guys are talking, so let me go ahead and share a couple images here. I'm not sure what happened to uh, uh, Greg. Hopefully he comes back. But here's this. This gentleman here financially helps out the placement of monuments on privately owned Confederate land so that people can go and, well, that didn't work, did it? So people can go and I can't read it. Oh, anyways, it's Admiral Raphael Sims, CSN. It's a plaque that is at the base of this statue. Oh, not that one. That one. So that's that plaque in here. Apparently, a few years back, according to what I was reading real quickly, that it was removed illegally and has been put back into place. And this John Needham dude, it's a new name to me. So if you guys know him, great. If not, I'll have to reach out to him after the fact. But he said that he helps financially to place statues and protect statues on privately owned land. Well, that's for later. While we're here, while this here is being shown real quick, we were mentioning about uh, our ancestors, um, our heritage, and this person here, this drawn artwork, is actually the relationship to Alex's wife, her Scottish branch of her family tree. And I thought it was pretty cool because his name is Kinmont William Armstrong. He was like a clan leader, a clan lord in Scotland back in, I think, the early 1700s. And England was starving his people. And he didn't have a very large army, but he and the men that stood by his side would cross the border and would steal cattle and food and stuff, and sometimes they got into fights and they killed some people. Eventually the English soldiers came across the border, captured him, took him back to the castle as shown here in the background here, and but his men, they here he is. The men went and rescued him, killing one of the English soldiers. Unfortunately, Jennifer's ancestor didn't stay free for long. They came back and actually did him in. They hung him for his crimes. And there was a Sir Walter Scott Raleigh, I believe his name. He's a famous poet. He did a poem about this guy. And if you were to print it out, it's like 4 pages long. And what I did was I used Suno.com as a phenomenal site. It's AI, costs $10 a month. I highly recommend it. You put like 5 or 6 sentences into it, and it creates the song. But besides that, it's almost like Suno read the poem. And as it created the song, it added in a whole bunch of details that I didn't tell it. So I'm going to take a quick moment to play this since we're talking about Alex and his family ancestors. And please tell me if you can't hear this, everyone. Please let me know, okay? But you know what? Before I do that, let me make sure I chose audio. That would be helpful, right? Bum, 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 dump. There we go. You should be able to hear this, okay? I'll play this one here. Mm-hmm.
The wind did howl, the trees did sway. The night was darker than day. We marched on.
I don't think the audio is coming across. You guys hearing that song?
I hear it.
Yep.
Oh, really? Okay.
Real good.
On silent, hearts enthralled to the shadow of the castle wall. Ladders high, breaths held tight. We crept like whispers through the night. Beneath the wall, where fire and sea and winds do brawl, we made our stand. We heeded the call beneath the shadow of the castle wall. The watchman fell, his breath was thin, a ghostly grin on Butler's chin. Had peace not held, thy path was done. Thy soul had fled with the rising sun. Beneath the wall, where fire and sea and winds do brawl, we made our stand. We heeded the call beneath the shadow of the castle wall.
So it helps if I would turn my volume up on my iPad. I had to actually shut the volume down because the ding's coming through. But the point of, of me sharing this music is to show, as Southerners, we all, our DNA pool is very small.
Yes.
And for the people in the North that hate the Southerners so badly, it makes no sense because we're all connected. And the Scottish people, along with the Welsh, the English, the
Mm-hmm.
French, the Spanish, they all came here and they
Yes.
all settled along the eastern seaboard, mostly towards the southern, and they created those townships, those counties, those towns, and eventually
Mhm.
states. And without them, there would have been no war against England. There'd be no United States. So with that, Alex, if you're finished, we'll go with Matthew.
All right. Howdy, y'all. I'm Matthew Holmes. I'm a local historian and an author, and I'm also a proud member of the SIA and of the Confederate Regulators. I do my part every day, of course, by working my job I have, building trusses, but other than that, I'm doing everything I can preserving Confederate history and keeping it alive. All the forgotten history, I'm working on bringing back to life. And I've done this with maps I've made, and I've done this with books I've written. Actually, I'm releasing my new one around probably I'd say January 27th, but it's about how the Confederate military enlistments are actually wrong because you have numerous units that are not even counted that were irregular units. and the title itself is called The Confederate South Our Maps Don't Lie. And Randall, I've sent you a few of the maps I've made
Yep.
as well.
Yep. I was going to get to those next.
This is one of the maps I've made of the Confederate officers that were actually born in Belgium. And the interesting part about them is a few of them had moved to the South right before the war even started, like a few years prior, while there were some that were already living. Thus, while you had Russians in it, you had Croatians, mainly a lot of Eastern Europeans, and they were mostly in the European Brigade that you found, of course, that were in Mississippi, Louisiana, and even East Texas. Some were even in Florida units, as well as Alabama. One of the officers of Alabama, he was actually Polish. Several officers from South Carolina all the way to Texas, a lot of them were Polish, a lot were Croatian, and one was actually Serbian. He was from Belgrade. And we even had a general as well who was also from Cuba, and his name was General Gonzalez, Ambrosio Gonzalez, and he was of Cuban descent. Then we had a militia general from the Dominican Republic, and I'm working on much more of this, preserving it and bringing it to life. But here we have Gonzalez, and he's on the far left. Then you have, yeah, I'm trying to remember the other one, but that's a captain of one of them. But yes, these maps are very time consuming, but it is worth it because I'm bringing back forgotten history.
I got one more here I can share. Do. There it is.
And this one as well, this involves a lot of the officers that I've mentioned. A lot of them were actually in charge of these Hispanic units. One being the mobile guards, the Spanish guards, even the European brigade. You know, there were some who were officers who come from Mexico, but a lot were from Spain, hence why it was called the European brigade. But with that being said, though, I do this to preserve history because I feel it's important. And where it's forgotten, I want to bring it back to life, which is what I do, so it opens it into a bigger perspective for us. It was not just in the South, but it was far more than we could even see.
Well, isn't it true that there are other European countries where we actually have some local citizens dressing up in Confederate uniforms and
Absolutely. Poland is one of them. My buddy, shout out to him, Tobacco Cutting Machines, Lucas over there. He actually took part in helping with the grave of Confederate Colonel Harrows von Bort, who went back to Poland after the war.
Now I know the maps of the southern states is very important, but will you also be inclusive of the states, like I said, from the European nations, so they also get some traction? And
Of course.
also, Greg, can they also join the SIA from different countries?
Yes, they can. As a matter of fact, we have a broad spectrum of people that are currently in the SIA, and we welcome them.
Yes.
www.southernindependentassociation.org.
And I got a question for you, Randall.
Hmm.
Since you told me you'd been going through my first one, what did you think about what I covered about the Hawaiian Kingdom overthrow?
You know, that pissed me off. You know, guys, and people who are watching, let me make my comment, then I'll clarify my comment so you don't get mad at me. Reading his books, I got 6 of them so far. I can't wait for the 7th one. It pisses me off. It makes me angry to think that our government can do the things they do against their own people. Uh, the war, not just inclusive of the war between the North and the South, but all the other stuff. And I just got a chapter past the one he's talking about here about Hawaii, but you know, our government wanted control of Hawaii.
Hmm.
But Hawaii was being ruled by a king, and I got no idea how to pronounce his damn name.
Lily Luka
But
Ame.
thank you. And the people wanted their sovereignty, and our government said, "No, we want your sugar, we want your land." And so they helped to overthrow him. They brought in the queen, and she was there for a very short, brief period of time. And then, if correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, some American businessmen wanted
Hmm.
complete control of their economy, specifically the sugar. So they helped to overthrow her. And there was uh, something to do. I know a ship got attacked, but then we
Yeah.
sent some Marines in. And we supplied weapons to the local people. They screwed things up. They got caught, but in the end run, um, the war with the Spanish kicked in. And I do believe, like Matt said, I do believe that we were involved with the sinking of that ship just so we can go to war, because
Hmm.
the idea was we needed Hawaii's port system to dock our ships to have a quicker response time for the combat that was coming. And then after that, it became, passing laws in Congress to try and get control, to annex it, and so forth. And finally, my birth year, 1959, Hawaii became the next state of the United States.
So I'll add something to that if you don't mind. What you're referring to would be the Wilcox Rebellion. Now, the reason why that is in that book is because a lot of Southerners, even after the war ended, there actually were some who went to Hawaii. However, there were some captains, such as the one I have in Hawaii. His name was George. I forgot his last name, but he was a captain, and he actually went to the States, and he was a captain in the Georgia Infantry. But with that being said, he was actually a Hawaiian Kingdom Confederate. And there were 78 others that were volunteers in the Confederate Navy from Hawaiian Kingdom. They were from Big Island, etc. But the reason why I covered that in the war that never ended is because their own children took up arms to defend the kingdom against the same force their fathers fought against that was happening in Hawaii. There was reports of battle flags there. Even some wearing former Confederate uniforms. And they
Hmm.
was even wearing, of course, the same guard. Some even had different flags. But with that being said, they still fought the same invading enemy. And it carried on. What do you think happened in the Spanish American War? They won't tell you this, the same thing. Even in the same year, 1898, guess what? They still were fighting former Confederates that went to Cuba. They won't tell you that, but there was a lot that actually went to Cuba after the war. They also went to Brazil. They went to Mexico. The ones in Brazil, they went to Viva Americana, which is in Brazil. And so that would be one of their colonies, the New Virginia colony. Some went to Argentina. Some went to Venezuela. Some went to Cuba. Some went to Honduras, Argentina, Chile, and the
So let me,
list goes on.
so let me ask you this. Uh, I guess it'd be safe to say that uh, the descendants of those soldiers and the soldiers' children who went to those countries you just mentioned, I would assume that they're still living in those countries today.
A lot of them are. A lot of them are. Like, for example, Heroes von Bort. His children, they remained in Europe. You know what his children were after that? They served in the Prussian military.
Hmm.
And then they were pushed into World War I, then World War II. It was a cycle.
And one thing for sure is that, as humans, we will never be without some reason for a war. Um, we're running close to the clock here. I do want to get Ben in real quick, but real quick, I'm going to go through these books again to show the folks. You can get them at Amazon. And if I speak incorrectly, Matt, the last you and I spoke, that the people came to you directly through Facebook Messenger and bought all the books together, that you would bundle them, give them a good price, and would also would
Yes.
sign your name. Okay. So
Yes, but right now I'm waiting on my new one to be released.
yeah, I'm waiting for that one too.
So that one right there, that's about my 8th great grandfather. And his grandchildren were Confederates, but they were sold to white slavery. The Littons were. This one is about my 3rd great grandfather, Private Matthew Marshall, and his father, Private Richard Marshall, and they were captured in Six Point Lookout. This one is about my uncle during the war. He was actually murdered by Union soldiers. Joseph Provost came on his property, demanded that he give the property over, and they shot him, and his family enlisted for revenge. This one is about my 4th great grandfather, Private Nathaniel Matthew Holmes of the 63rd Virginia Infantry. But a little bit about the road to hell and back. The Littons were sold as white slaves, and they were literally put through hell by the British. And their grandchildren, they themselves went through the same fate. Only a few of them returned home. And the war that never ended, that is basically, I guess you can say, a version of 1984 I've written, which contains 400 years of forbidden American history.
Okay, one thing more, and then I did a broadcast earlier today. I'm not sure, Ben, if you saw it, but I actually brought up your book along with Matt's books as well. So I wanted to do due diligence here and also share that with you. Upload new.
I have a question, Randall.
Sure.
The question I've got is for Matt,
Mhm.
and I'm wondering, with the books that you've written, those
Yes.
are based on facts.
Yes.
I have read snippets of those. And the question that I want to present to you is, how in the world has so much history been lost, or let's just say covered over, suppressed, pushed to the side, stuck in the closet, lingers in the shadows?
Like it's purposeful. I mean, they try to hide everything from us. They won't even talk about the mine wars, which I covered in the war that never ended. My family, they were involved in that. You know, they fought the same government that was trying to kill them, the same government that their grandfathers served. Literally, and the same military, they came to their houses and killed them. So, yes, the great grandfathers of them, however, they fought against the tyranny, and they were the Confederates. And it's sad, but the reality is they want to erase it because they see it as this. If they see any example of resistance against totalitarianism or authoritarianism, aka tyranny, they see it as a red flag. That's why they want to target Southern history so much. Because, for one, it is resistance against tyranny. They won't bring up Blair Mountain. They won't bring up the Battle of Athens. They won't bring up Bloody Harlan. They won't bring up the Battle of Newport. They won't bring up the Cold Creek War. Why? Because it was Southerners that fought against the tyranny. That's why
Sometime, Colonel, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but sometime what I'd like to do is I'd like for us to talk about state textbook adoption,
Yes.
because I'm telling you, the textbook adoption is where the criminal methods of suppressing information that our young people have been restricted from seeing. It is the state textbook adoption. And I'm going to tell you something. The publishers for schools, for civics books, textbooks, They're culprits.
Yes.
They got their hand in the cookie jar.
Mind if I add something as well, Greg? That's why our
Yes,
battle
sir.
flag is so under fire, because it's an international symbol against Marxism, against tyranny. That's why it was used in Europe, because of that. And it's still used there today. Even during the fall of the Berlin Wall, you had civilians that were flying it as, guess what? Resistance against the tyranny that was destroying them. That's why they want it erased, because of that. It has nothing to do with race. They can give us that bullshit all they want, but the reality is we're the resistance against tyranny. They hate that. They see us as parasites, etc. Why? Because we are the things they fear. I mean, a prime example, look at Europe, how they had to deal with communism. What happened? After it fell, there was a lot of, soldiers there. They were displaying our battle flag there proudly. And they even said it was resistance against Marxism. Even in Africa, they used our battle flag as a symbol against Marxism. A prime example, South Sudan. You don't hear about that. But I'm going to add something real quick. The Battle of Blair Mountain that I brought up, I want y'all to think about something here. I've been asked this question before by people. Would your own government murder you?
Yes.
Well, with Blair Mountain, this is sickening. They will not teach this, but this was the first time in history that you had the U.S. military actually dropping bombs on Appalachian coal miners, and they put the survivors in tents to starve to death. So our history, our Southern history, is more deeper than we realize, but they suppress it because our history conflicts their narrative, because we're the resistance. We've always been the resistance.
Got that.
Going to Benjamin. Thank you for being patient, Benjamin. This is Ben's book, The Legend of Willow's Hollows. I got this book around Halloween, and timing was perfect because I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell a little bit about the book, and I'm going to play it. As I was going through this, I was taking sentences out of this book and creating some music. Like I said before with the other one, with Alex's song, it almost looks like Suno read his book. So I want him to talk a little bit about this, and I'm going to play that song that goes more deeper detail than what I would imagine. And then I'll take a few words myself, and then we'll close out the broadcast, okay?
Yeah, I'd love to explain the book. So basically the book about the Legend of Willow's Hollows was about a sergeant named Abel Smith knows that Confederate soldiers were going missing, but somehow they find out they get sacrificed mysteriously, and then you got someone from the north named Hector Crowley, but he's like a Union warlock and stuff, so he's basically comes down and terrorizing and doing all these. So the townspeople get tired of him, so they basically end up killing him and stuff. So when his daughter finds out, Raven Crowley, she basically gets revenge by putting a curse on these children, these like illness symptoms and stuff. Stuff like that as usual.
I would say it was a very interesting read, very descriptive, and I don't know if you saw my broadcast, Ben, but I put you to a challenge to create a book prior to this, like a prequel, as to how he got his powers of being a warlock, how his daughter got the powers of witchcraft, and then in this book, she actually gets captured, taken to prison. I would like to see a third book, a trilogy of her actually gaining her powers back and taking revenge on on the soldiers. But listen to the words of this song, and folks, you get an idea what the book is about. It's really neat.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Well, I want to actually introduce myself before. Would that be okay by you,
Yeah,
actually?
that's fine. Yeah.
My name is Benjamin Walker, and I'm basically a author, historian, and a genealogist and stuff. I'm basically on the autistic spectrum, you can tell. My love for Civil War history, I'm a member of the SIA and Sons of Confederate Veterans.
And to be honest, Ben, if you hadn't mentioned it, I probably wouldn't have picked up on it. I mean, when you and I first started talking, and I said, well, don't take this wrong, guys, at all, please. I was born a Yankee. I hate the idea of it, but I love the way the folks in the South have that very unique accent. I love it. And I wish I had it. And sometimes, depending on how long I'm talking to someone, I actually start picking up and start saying some words that are more kind of a Southern kind of thing, and I don't want it to sound fake. But when I heard Ben talking, right off the bat, I'm thinking, well, this is, he's from the South, but he's from the state of Ohio. Now, he did indicate he's from the southern part of Ohio, but I mean, your accent fits right in there.
My
And
mom was born in Tennessee at that
that,
time, but she was
that,
sent to race to live in Ohio with her grand
that
aunt.
explains it.
One aunt.
That explains it. Because she would have taught you how to talk and so forth, and you would have picked up on it. So here's the song, and we're getting really close to the end here, guys.
He walked alone where shadows bend. A pact was made, no start, no end.
I can't hear it.
Whispers rise like smoke through air.
Can anybody else hear it?
Yes, I hear it.
Not many.
I could hear it.
Alex, can you hear it?
No, just a
No?
few seconds. I could hear it though.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Just a few seconds before I could hear it. I can't hear it now.
Oh, I know I paused it. So Greg's the only one who can't hear it?
I can hear it.
It must be Greg.
It's always me.
Hector Crowley's name, beware. Oh, Hector Crowley, the warlock's flame burned too bright for the devil's game. A caution carved in the midnight stone. His fight was fierce, but he died alone. Union's banner stitched with thread of hope and blood, the living and dead. Power calls with the sirens wail, but Hector's tale will never pale. The stars can't hide what the dark reveals, a soul that fought but lost the deal. But he died alone.
Okay, I'm going to end it there short, a little bit short. I'm not sure, Greg, why you can't hear it. It was going out, so maybe it's just something on your end, but I'll check with EB Bucks after the fact. But I just want to end with a few of my own words and call it a night then. I started watching Joshua Gilmore's Spotify podcast. So if you guys want to hear some really good content, go to Spotify, check out Joshua Gilmore, and give him a listen to. I think he does like a daily podcast. But a couple of things that I wanted to bring to attention is this. It kind of like addresses what Greg was saying earlier. Joshua says that we need to embrace the enemy's hatred. And I think, to me, what that means is that yes, they hate us, and yes, I'm including myself in that because of our Southern heritage. But we should embrace it and then use it to strengthen our resolve to find out why they hate us and trying to get them to understand there's no reason to hate us. We're not their enemy, and to try and I don't know, I don't say bring them to our side, but at least to reduce that particular tension. He says also, what are we doing to stop the attacks? Well, one thing I know we haven't done, and I give kudos to the people in the South, and that is this: we don't attack back. We have these liberal politicians who pronounce from their pedestals or from their seats in Congress and Senate and from out in public saying to their minions, get out there, burn down the cities, loot, destroy, keep the Republicans awake at night, blah, 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 blah. And they go out and they do it. But you know what the Republicans and conservatives do? Nothing. They take it, because if they were to come back, you know who's going to be made to blame to? It's going to be the Republican conservatives, not the ones who are following the orders of the liberals. So, for the Southerners to not fight back in a physical sense, it's probably more frustrating to them because we're not responding to their hatred. He also, on another podcast, he mentions that, and this also goes to what Greg was saying, and it's probably going to come off hard, but I don't mean to. Maybe in a way I do. I'm on the outside here. I'm here in a northern state, and I don't get out to all these events to celebrate the Southern heritage. But inside, if you were to cut my wrist, I'll bleed Dixie. But I think what we need, and again, I'm including myself in the we, as Southerners, is we need to come together as one voice, one body, one person, one mind. Because until we do that, we're going to be a half a dozen or more different entities trying to prove a point. And like I said to Greg last night in our conversation, if the generals, the colonels, the sergeants, the privates from back in the war, if they knew today how the folks in the South were going to behave and live, then their lives were thrown away for nothing.
Exactly.
Because they fought, they died, they got injured, they lost everything. Women were raped, kids were raped, dogs were killed, land was stolen, because they wanted the independence of the Southern people. They wanted the pride of Southern people. They wanted to be free from the Northern hatred.
Randall, mind if I add something, if you don't mind?
Sure.
So, you were talking about just now the federal supremacy. To every Confederate compatriot in here, I highly recommend this book right here. This right here is probably the most controversial book I've ever written. And this is about how the United States federal government will use weapons of weather as bioweapons upon Southerners and anyone who is resistance against them. And so they will kill us just to actually get their narrative through or their control. But I highly recommend this. It's definitely an eye opener. And me and Randall, we interviewed it before, and he was surprised at what all was in there.
Yeah. And one last thing, then I'll kick Greg out, Alex out, Matt out, Ben out, and then I'll kick myself out. We have to be strong for each other. We have to be there for each other, and we have to keep going strong. Don't stop the good fight. Here's a couple of he mentioned about flaggers, and for those folks who don't know what flaggers are, these are folks who go out there and they show the support for the South by displaying the flag, displaying posters, maybe making some words, getting the news people come out and they ask, "What are you doing out here?" Well, we're here supporting the South, stuff like that. But here's some groups that came out strong and then they went into history. West Tennessee flaggers, Mid South flaggers, Alabama flaggers, the Alameda flaggers. But here are the ones who are standing strong: Delta flaggers, Virginia flaggers, the Georgia flaggers, flags across the South, and Tar Heel flaggers. If you guys wanted to start up the flaggers again or create a new one, reach out to these folks, find out what they're doing that makes them still strong after all this time. And one last thing that was mentioned was we need to stop the infighting. We need to just end it. It angers me so much, and I'm going to use this last bit of a comment, and then we'll end it. The infighting and what's going on with the Southern groups reminds me of the Gettysburg movie, where the soldiers are lined up, the Confederate cannons are firing off everything they got to break down the defense of the Yankees, and they had this mile-long open space that they had to cross. The Confederates had to cross and open fire, rifles, cannons, everything. But you know what? They did it. They looked to their general, and the general said, for Virginia, for Virginia. And they followed their officers into combat, into their death, into their injuries, and as prisoners. Where is that love and loyalty and intensity today in the Southern people? We need that back.
Yes, we do.
Amen.
And with that, Greg, thank you for being here. I'm going to kick you out. Have a great day.
I want to say one thing before I go,
Yep.
and it's relative to what you just said. When someone their ego is their number one priority, and the Southern heritage is second place to their ego, we don't need them.
Excellent. Talk to you there, Greg.
Bye.
And Alex, my general, my open source. He is also my clients for genealogy, and I am working on that list. You got a lot of people, and a lot of people who fought for the South and died for the South. Alex, thanks for being here. Remember what I talked about? That's coming, going to be sent out tomorrow. Watch out for it, okay?
Yes, sir. I've already got that, by the way.
What?
I already got the envelope.
Excellent. Okay. See ya.
Come rolling in.
And Matthew, thank you for being here. Thank you for the books. I look forward to January 20th released. I do have some of those bookmarks still in my drawer, so I'll get them out to you, and I'll worry about ordering new ones later, okay?
Just a heads up, by the way, that one that you'll be getting, there's going to be 3 extra parts that will be after that. It will cover the northern Copperhead states, and then it will be the international support.
Excellent. You know, if you haven't already talked to Ben, Ben and I were doing some side talking earlier. He really wants to, and Ben, if I'm speaking out of context, please correct me, stop me, shut me up. I really think he wants to do more books as he has time. If you guys can get together and collaborate, I mean, to push out these books.
Definitely.
I think
I'd be honored to help do artwork and all kinds of stuff for them.
And then Ben, in the front of the book, you say you can have that. What do they call it? Where a person says a few words about the book. What do they call that guy?
A commentator.
Yeah, well, something like that. Yeah. So get him to make a few comments on the front page of your book. Thank you, Matthew. We'll talk later.
Y'all have a blessed day, and God bless.
And Benjamin, my friend, I am really hoping to see a book. If it's nothing,
they'll be great readings. So it's going to take about weeks or time or stuff to complete.
Yep. I mean, if nothing else, at least a prequel of how he got his powers. You know.
Yeah, I'll do something about that.
Yeah, kick these guys out, rest away. Boom, 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 boom. They should be gone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
No, hang on a second. These guys, I'm trying to kick these out and they won't get kicked out. There you go. Okay. It was a slow response kicking them out. So yes, so Ben, if you could, a prequel. I'm very curious
I would love to do a prequel and stuff.
how the soldier got his powers and how it passed. When you think about witchcraft and warlocks, it's usually like
You might have been
it's just
had to been practiced by a practitioner,
yes,
magician, or a teacher,
yes,
something
yes.
like that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, guys, gals. If you're watching, you got to get his book, and as well as get Matthew's books. They are a very good read. They're eye openers. They really, truly are. Benjamin, thank you for being here. I'm going to kick you out now. Take care. And folks, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for all the comments. I'm going to take some time afterwards, next couple of days, to look for any more follow-up comments. Please like and share this broadcast out to everyone you can think of who loves the South and Southern heritage. There's a lot of information given out today. There's mentioned some books, some magazines, some other stuff coming out. As I get that information, I will share that with you on my page. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Take care.